Hello, welcome back, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain an American dystopian film called The Darkest Minds. Watch out and take care. In the year 2043, children and teenagers in the United States begin to die as a result of a horrific disease that exclusively affects children. This disease is very contagious and spreads swiftly. However, this sickness only kills youngsters and not adults. As a result of this virus, 98% of children and teenagers die, barely 2% survive, and those who do survive become abnormal. The condition causes these children to develop a harmful unique ability. The government is urging all parents to surrender their surviving child to a healing and research camp. At the time, President Gray of the United States claimed that his son, Clancy, had survived the disease and was being treated at the camp for recovery, and that his condition was improving. Doctors and scientists at the camp divide youngsters and their ailments into 5 categories. First, there are the greens, who are for children whose intelligence has increased. The second color is blue, and it is reserved for persons with telekinetic talents. Gold is the third group, and it has the ability to manipulate electricity. The first 3 categories are thought to be quite safe and are only being treated in healing camps. The fourth group is the most deadly, which is the red color for individuals who can control fire, and the fifth group is orange, the most dangerous group, for those who can manipulate other people's thoughts. The red and orange groups are extremely rare, and the government regards them as extremely dangerous, ordering their execution on sight. The story brings us to a scene in which a young girl named Ruby is enjoying her birthday with her parents. They are concerned since all of the youngsters in the area have died, save for Ruby. Ruby comes to her mother's room at night to calm her down, but she has an odd vision as she touches her mother's hand. In the morning, her mother no longer recognizes Ruby as her child, and she requests that the government transport Ruby to the healing camp. Finally, Ruby is transferred to the healing camp with the other youngsters. Every youngster who is brought to the camp is evaluated by a doctor to identify what kind of abnormalities they have. Ruby is escorted to the examination, where she is identified as belonging to the orange group, the most dangerous group capable of controlling other people's minds. As a result, the doctor is eager to administer a deadly injection to Ruby, but Ruby is able to manipulate his thoughts and convince him that she is a green, a person whose intelligence has swiftly grown and is not deemed threatening. There are 3 groups at the camp: green, blue, and gold, but no red or orange, because they are all slaughtered on sight. Ruby then lives in the camp as a green. After 6 years, Ruby, who is working at the camp, is chastised by the camp leader for making a mistake. The captain suspects Ruby of being more foolish than the other persons present. However, Ruby's campmate defends her and insults the camp commander, infuriating him, and as a result, the captain takes her away for punishment. In the camp, the children are mistreated. Frequency tests are frequently conducted later in the camp. In a nutshell, this frequency test employs a very loud sound whose frequency can only be heard by the youngsters. Ruby faints during the frequency test, and she is transported to Dr. Kate for further investigation. The officer learns during the examination that Ruby is an orange. Dr. Kate surreptitiously writes Ruby a note in which she informs her that they have discovered Ruby is an orange and will kill her immediately. Dr. Kate instructs Ruby to meet her in the boiler room. In a panic, Ruby rushes to the boiler room, where Dr. Kate is waiting for her. By then, the alarm for an intruder has gone off, and all officers are directed to seek for Ruby. Ruby escapes using Dr. Kate's automobile with the assistance of Dr. Kate. Ruby is almost apprehended at the checkpoint, but she uses her magic to influence the officer's mind to allow them escape. Ruby is finally able to leave the camp after 6 years. Kate provides Ruby a panic button in the car that can be used as a tracker if she is in danger. Kate reveals that she is a member of the Children's League, whose objective it is to rescue children from the camp while also fighting the government. Kate drives her to a petrol station, where she meets her lover, Rob, who is also on a child rescue mission. When Ruby nearly falls and grabs Rob's hand, she experiences a vision of Rob, who appears to like hurting children. Ruby begins to question their motivations. Ruby is changing her clothes in a shop when she notices a tiny child who can manipulate electricity. When she sees Ruby, the girl flees, and Ruby pursues her. Ruby then follows the girl into a van as she flees Dr. Kate. Zhu, the tiny girl, is mute and always wears gloves because of her ability. Zhu is accompanied by two companions named Liam and Charles. Liam is a blue with telekinesis, while Charles is a green with intelligence. They agree to accompany Ruby and aid her escape from Kate. Lady Jane is a woman who attempts to pursue them along the road. Lady Jane is a professional kid hunter. Kate attempts to chase them while in pursuit. Liam, on the other hand, utilizes his telekinesis power to annoy them by spreading leaves, breaking the road, and even knocking down trees. As a result, they are able to flee. They also get to know each other better, but Ruby refuses to reveal her orange identity and instead pretends to be a green. Liam tells that they are on their way to a group of children led by a strange figure known as the Slip Kid. They don't know who the Slip Kid is, but he appears to be an orange with the ability to manipulate people's minds. He also explains why Dr. Kate's Children's League is not a good place to remain. He used to be a member of the Children's League, which trains children to use their talents to fight the government. Because Liam disliked the concept of being a soldier, he eventually left the League. Ruby and the others spend the night at an inn. Ruby recalls spending time with her parents. It is revealed that she was unable to manage her power, and as a result, she mistakenly wiped her parents' memories of her when she was a child. While dreaming, Ruby inadvertently brushes Zhu's hand and recalls being in a government camp where she and hundreds of other youngsters rebelled and fled, and the uprising was headed by Liam. Zhu became silent as a result of the stress she experienced at the camp. They go to a long-abandoned mall in the morning to shop and get supplies. They cherish their time together because they have never had a typical childhood. However, their bodies are suddenly removed and controlled by a group of humans. Zhu, fortunately, utilizes her electric power to stop it. They turn out to be a bunch of children with telekinesis powers. They discuss the children's relationship in the East River and its highly secret character at night. They know where East River is, but they can't pinpoint it for Ruby and her friends, because it is a closely guarded secret. Ruby, on the other hand, utilizes her telepathy to make one of them unwittingly offer a hint about the location, which is the letter EDO. Later that night, the brilliant Charles tries to figure out what EDO is, but he comes up empty-handed. However, after conversing with Ruby about her father's job as a cop, Charles begins to suspect that EDO is a radio frequency. He comes to the conclusion that E symbolizes 5, D represents 4, and O represents 0. He also employs the radio frequency number 540. Finally, they receive a transmission from the frequency and discover that they are in Lake Prince, Virginia. The next day, they are ambushed on the road by Lady Jane, the child hunter, who utilizes the sound frequency of her rifle to incapacitate the youngsters. Fortunately, Ruby utilizes her power to control Lady Jane's mind and punishes her appropriately. Liam and the others are surprised that Ruby has been orange all along. Ruby has been lying to them all along since she isn't proud of her powers. Ruby eventually confides in Liam about her history, and they begin to fall in love with one another. They eventually continue on their adventure and arrive at Lake Prince, Virginia. They meet other youngsters their age there. They are astounded because they haven't seen so many children in a long time. They also encounter the Slip Kid, who turns out to be the president's son, Clancy Gray. All along, Clancy, like Ruby, is an orange. They throw a party at night. Liam and Ruby have a passionate dance together. They are all given assignments in the morning, and Ruby is tasked with assisting Clancy. Clancy informs Ruby that he was one of the first people to survive the awful disease, and that the government exploited him as a test subject to develop a cure. However, the doctor failed, and his father, the president, lied to the public by claiming that they had discovered the cure. Clancy ultimately escaped and established a children's society where all of the children can live in safety. Clancy then teaches Ruby how to harness her power and influence the minds of others without touching their hands, and Ruby eventually succeeds. In exchange, Ruby shows him how to delete other people's memories. During this time, Clancy takes control of her mind and attempts to kiss her. Ruby is upset, so she slaps him and walks away. Ruby and her companions eventually decide to leave. However, while on the run, they are assaulted by camp personnel. Liam tries to fight back, but he falls asleep. Clancy, it turns out, has rendered him comatose. Clancy has been shown to be the mastermind behind everything all along. Clancy has requested that all of the youngsters be arrested. Clancy has been manipulating his father, the president, and utilizing his authority to take control of the government. His major ambition is to raise an army of superpowered children so that he will never be abused by anyone. Ruby then uses her power to force the camp captain commit suicide, while Zoo manipulates electricity to devise an escape plan. Armed forces arrive in helicopters to arrest all of the children. The army brought the youngsters in the red group who can control fire. It turns out that the government has secretly militarized them, and they set fire to the camp. Finally, the struggle begins. The Red Army attempts to burn Liam and his comrades, but Liam retaliates with his strength. Clancy then appears in the middle of the struggle and manipulates the thoughts of all the children present. Liam and the others are compelled to flee the place, leaving Ruby behind. Because only Ruby has the ability to confront Clancy, Ruby employs her abilities to raise an army. Clancy, on the other hand, demonstrates his vicious nature by controlling their minds to murder themselves by shooting each other. Clancy then tries to utilize his new memory erasing abilities to sway Ruby to his side and make her forget her friends. However, Ruby uses her power to take control of the pilot's mind, causing the helicopter to crash and explode. Ruby escapes the explosion with the help of Charles, but Charles is burned and gravely injured, leaving Ruby little choice but to use her panic button to summon the Children's League for assistance. The League team arrives the next morning to pick them all up. Charles is sent to the hospital for treatment, while Zoo is adopted by a loving family. However, Liam is detained by the League since he has previously betrayed the League. The League believes Liam knows too much about the League to be let go. Ruby meets Kate and bargains for Liam's freedom by pledging to join the League and fight alongside them against the government. Kate, on the other hand, is certain that Liam will never leave without Ruby, and he will not allow Ruby to join the League. Ruby finally meets Liam. Liam emphasizes that he wants the two of them to stay together and talk about their future plans. However, Ruby is compelled to delete herself from Liam's memory in order for Liam to be released and for her to join and fight with the Children's League. All recollections of Ruby from their first meeting in the van, conversing and dancing together, had vanished from his mind. Suddenly, Liam has no recollection of Ruby, and he departs. Ruby then sobs as she sees Liam walk away. Ruby eventually joins and trains with the Children's League. But wait, there's more. Ruby and her companion's struggle is far from finished, as it comes out that Clancy is still alive, and a bloody battle between the two factions is unavoidable. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.